Sarah Chen watched the crystalline spires of New Singapore's skyline through the window of her 73rd floor apartment, nursing a cup of synthetic coffee. The early morning sun caught the building's edges, making them shimmer like diamonds against the pale blue sky. 10 years ago, she would have been preparing for another mission with Earth Special Forces. Now she was just another civilian trying to find her place in a rapidly changing galaxy. The soft chime of her comm unit interrupted her thoughts. An unmarked message, unusual in these days of authenticated communications. Her military training kicked in as she activated her security protocols before opening it. Captain Chen, your service record is impressive. We require someone with your unique qualifications for a sensitive assignment. Compensation will be substantial. If interested, proceed to coordinates attached. Come alone. Sarah's lips curved into a slight smile. It had been months since her last contract, and her accounts were running low. Still, unmarked messages usually meant trouble. She ran the coordinates through her system. An abandoned terraforming facility on the outskirts of the city. Perfect for an ambush, or for privacy. 4 hours later, Sarah stood in the shadow of the facility's massive atmospheric processors, her pulse steady despite the risk. She wore civilian clothes, but the fabric was lined with reactive armor, and her neural implants were running active scans of the area. The facility appeared empty, but her sensors detected faint energy signatures from within. Captain Chen. The voice came from behind her, impossibly quiet despite the echoing space. Thank you for coming. Sarah turned, maintaining her calm exterior despite her surprise. The being before her was Vorathi, a species known for their advanced biotechnology and secretive nature. Tall and elegant, with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors in the dim light, the alien regarded her with compound eyes that sparkled with intelligence. I am Administrator Ven, the Vorathi said. We have a situation that requires human insight. Most situations require a lot more than insight. Sarah replied evenly. Why don't you tell me what this is really about? Ven's skin rippled in what Sarah recognized as amusement. Direct. Yes, this is why we need a human. The administrator gestured, and a holographic display materialized between them. What do you see? The image showed two Vorathi, younger than Ven, working in what appeared to be a research facility. They moved with perfect synchronization, their movements mirror images of each other. Twins? Sarah asked, though she knew Vorathi reproduction didn't work that way. In a manner of speaking, Ven replied. They are Kira and Nova, our most advanced achievements in genetic engineering. They represent the future of our species, and perhaps all species. They are also in grave danger. Sarah studied the image more closely. The two young Vorathi appeared identical, but there was something about their movements that seemed almost too perfect, too coordinated. What makes them so special? They have achieved what we thought impossible, perfect genetic harmony with quantum entanglement properties. Their minds are linked in ways we barely understand, and their research in biotechnology is decades ahead of anything else in the galaxy. Ven's voice took on a note of pride, then concern. But there are those who would either control or destroy them, and you want me to protect them. Sarah concluded, why not use your own security forces? Because our enemies know all our protocols, all our methods. We need something unpredictable, something they cannot anticipate. We need human intuition and adaptability. Ven's skin shifted to a deeper shade, and because they asked for you specifically. That caught Sarah's attention. They asked for me. Why? They studied your service record, your tactics during the Centauri conflict. They believe you possess the necessary combination of skills and ethical framework. Ven produced a data crystal. Full details of the assignment, including compensation, are here. Do you accept? Sarah took the crystal, weighing it in her hand along with her options. The job would be dangerous. Anything involving Vorathi biotechnology usually was. But something about those twins, about their perfect synchronization, intrigued her. And if they were as important as Ven suggested, The wrong people getting hold of them could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. I accept, she said finally. But I have 3 conditions. First, I need full access to all information about the twins and the threats against them. Second, I maintain operational control over security measures. And third, if I discover you're lying about anything, our contract is void. Ven's skin rippled again, this time in what seemed like approval. Agreed. You begin immediately. The twins are expecting you. The journey to the Vorathi research facility was surprisingly short. It was hidden beneath the city itself, protected by layers of security that made Sarah's military installations look primitive. As they descended in a gravity lift, Ven explained more about the twins' work. They are not just researchers, the administrator said. They are the research. Their connected consciousness allows them to perceive biological systems in ways we never imagined. They can see the quantum patterns in living things, understand how to manipulate them. Their discoveries could revolutionize medicine, terraforming, even evolution itself, which makes them valuable, Sarah noted, and vulnerable. Who are we protecting them from? Officially, various criminal organizations and competing research institutions. Ven hesitated. Unofficially, there are elements within our own government that believe the twins' abilities should be weaponized. They would prefer to have them under military control. The lift stopped at a vast laboratory complex. Through transparent walls, Sarah could see the twins working, moving in that uncanny synchronization she'd noticed in the hologram. As she watched, they completed each other's gestures, adjusted controls simultaneously, moved like dancers in a choreographed performance. Captain Chen. They spoke in unison as she entered, turning to face her. Up close, their iridescent skin seemed to pulse with shared rhythms, their compound eyes reflecting the same light patterns. We are pleased you accepted our request. Sarah studied them carefully. Despite their identical appearance, she could sense subtle differences. One seemed slightly more forceful in movement, the other more contemplative in gaze. Kira and Nova, correct. How do you tell each other apart? They smiled. Actually smiled, an unusual expression for Vorathi. We don't, said the one on the left. We are both Kira and both Nova, said the one on the right. The distinction exists only for others' comfort. But you can call me Kira, the first one added. And I prefer Nova, said the second. Their voices were similar but not identical. Kira's slightly higher, Nova's with a subtle harmonic undertone. The administrator says you're in danger, Sarah said, getting to business. What can you tell me about the threats? The twins exchanged a glance that seemed to carry an entire conversation. The truth is more complex than Administrator Ven has revealed, Kira began. Our research has progressed further than anyone suspects, Nova continued. We have discovered something that could change everything. They finished together. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. In her experience, discoveries that could change everything usually led to someone trying to change it for the worse. Tell me everything, she said, from the beginning. The twins began to explain, their story unfolding like a complex equation, each taking turns to fill in the variables. As they spoke, Sarah realized she wasn't just taking a job. She was stepping into a scientific revolution that could reshape the galaxy. And somewhere out there, forces were already moving to control it. The question was, could one human soldier make a difference in a game played with such high stakes? Sarah Chen was about to find out. 3 days into her assignment, Sarah Chen realized the Vorathi research facility was more than just a laboratory. It was a maze of secrets wrapped in layers of deception. She had spent those days studying security protocols, mapping escape routes, and most importantly, observing the twins. Kira and Nova worked with an efficiency that bordered on supernatural. Their movements flowed like liquid mathematics, each gesture precise and purposeful. But it was their moments of rest that intrigued Sarah most. They would sit in perfect stillness, their iridescent skin pulsing with synchronized patterns, engaged in silent conversations that seemed to transcend normal communication. "You're wondering about our connection," Nova said one evening, breaking Sarah's contemplation. The twin was working on what appeared to be a complex molecular projection, her fingers dancing through the holographic display. Among other things, Sarah admitted, she had positioned herself by the lab's main entrance, back to the wall, sight lines clear to all approaches. Old habits died hard. "Your work seems to go beyond standard genetic research." Kira emerged from an adjacent room, moving to stand beside her sister. "We study the quantum nature of consciousness," she explained. "The way thoughts shape reality at the smallest level, and reality shapes thoughts in return," Nova added. "The universe is more interconnected than most species understand." Sarah nodded, though the concept stretched the limits of her comprehension. "And that's why someone wants to weaponize your research." The twins exchanged one of their silent looks. "That is part of it," they said in unison. Then Kira continued alone. "But the truth is more dangerous. We've discovered something that challenges the very foundation of sentient existence." Before Sarah could press further, her neural implants registered a subtle shift in the facility's power grid. A millisecond later, the security systems engaged, sealing all external access points. Sarah was moving before the alerts even sounded. "Back room, now," she ordered the twins, drawing the compact pulse weapon she kept concealed beneath her jacket. The twins complied without question, their movements still perfectly synchronized, even in crisis. "Security breach in Sector 7. The facility's AI announced. Unknown biological signatures detected." Sarah positioned herself at the room's entrance, neural implants running tactical scenarios. "Talk to me. What's in Sector 7? "The Quantum Observation Chamber," Nova replied, "where we conduct our most sensitive experiments." "It's impossible to breach," Kira added. "The security there is." "Nothing's impossible," Sarah cut her off, "especially if someone has inside help." She had seen too many impossible facilities compromised by betrayal. "Is there anything in that chamber that could help intruders find you?" Another silent exchange between the twins. "Yes," they admitted together. "Our primary research data, the patterns we discovered in the quantum framework of consciousness." Sarah's tactical display showed security forces converging on Sector 7, but something felt wrong about the timing. "This is a diversion," she realized. "They want to draw attention their while." The lights in their section flickered, and Sarah's neural implants detected a new energy signature directly above them. The ceiling erupted in a shower of debris as figures dropped into the room, their forms obscured by stealth fields that bent light around them. Sarah's combat training took over. She fired 2 precise shots, catching the first attacker before they could fully materialize. The pulse weapon's energy burst disrupted their stealth field, revealing the humanoid figure in advanced combat armor. "Down," she shouted to the twins, but they were already moving, their synchronized awareness giving them an almost prescient ability to avoid danger. They rolled behind a research station as more attackers descended. Sarah engaged her own active camouflage, a piece of technology she'd acquired during her military days. She moved like a ghost through the chaos, her neural implants calculating trajectories and identifying weak points in the attacker's armor. 2 more went down before they could properly orient themselves, but the remaining 3 were professionals. They spread out, using cover effectively and maintaining overlapping fields of fire. Their armor design was unfamiliar, not military or standard mercenary gear. "The twins are all that matters," one of them commanded in accented standard. "Neutralize the human." Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. They weren't the first to underestimate humanity's capacity for violence. She triggered her backup plan, a series of localized EMP bursts she'd hidden throughout the lab. The pulses weren't strong enough to damage sensitive equipment, but they played havoc with the attackers' advanced systems. In the moment of confusion, Sarah struck. She closed distance with the nearest attacker, her neural implants interfacing with her muscle enhancements to push her body beyond normal human limits. The attacker's armor was impressive, but it had vulnerable points at the joints. Points Sarah's combat experience helped her identify and exploit. A quick strike to the knee joint, followed by an armor-piercing round to the exposed neck seal. One down. She used the falling body as a shield against fire from the others, her neural implants processing battlefield data faster than conscious thought. But these attackers were more than simple mercenaries. The remaining two adjusted quickly, switching to some kind of sonic weapon that bypassed conventional defenses. Sarah felt the vibrations in her bones, her implants struggling to compensate. Then something unexpected happened. The twins stepped out from cover, moving in perfect unison. The air around them seemed to ripple, and the sonic attack simply stopped. The attackers froze, their weapons falling silent. Enough, Kira and Nova spoke as one, their voices carrying harmonics that made Sarah's implants tingle. You do not understand what you risk. The attackers convulsed, their armor systems going haywire. They collapsed, unconscious or worse. Sarah couldn't tell. The twins stood over them, their iridescent skin glowing with patterns Sarah had never seen before. "What did you do?" Sarah asked, keeping her weapon ready. Her tactical systems were still registering multiple threats converging on their position. "We showed them the truth," Nova said. "The same truth we've been studying," Kira continued. "The quantum nature of consciousness works both ways." They finished together. Sarah's mind raced, processing implications. The twins hadn't just defended themselves. They had somehow affected their attacker's consciousness directly. This is what everyone's really after, isn't it? Not just your research, but what you can do. The twins nodded solemnly. "We have evolved beyond normal Vorathi capabilities," Kira explained. "Our connection allows us to perceive and influence the quantum patterns that underlie all conscious thought. We can reshape reality itself, in small ways," Nova added. "But we are not weapons to be used. We are searching for understanding." Security forces were finally approaching their position. Sarah made a quick decision. "We need to move. This facility isn't secure anymore, and I'm betting these weren't the only attackers." "No," the twins agreed. "There will be others. The knowledge we possess." They trailed off, sharing another of their silent exchanges. "Then we run," Sarah said firmly. "I know places off the grid, ways to disappear. But first, you need to tell me everything. No more secrets." The twins looked at each other, then at Sarah. "Yes," they said. "It's time you understood the full truth. About us, about consciousness, and about why humanity may be the key to everything." As they made their way to Sarah's pre-planned evacuation route, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was no longer just protecting the twins. She was becoming part of whatever revolution they represented. The question was, would this revolution save the galaxy or tear it apart? Sarah's safe house was a converted maintenance hub in New Singapore's industrial sector, surrounded by automated factories and forgotten infrastructure. The twins had been quiet during their escape from the facility, their synchronized movements more pronounced under stress. Now, as dawn approached, they sat across from Sarah in the sparse living space, their iridescent skin dimmed to match the shadows. "Start from the beginning," Sarah said, checking the safe house's security feeds one last time. "What's the truth about your research?" Kira and Nova exchanged their characteristic silent look. "We were created," Kira began, "as an experiment in quantum consciousness." Nova continued seamlessly, "But we became something more than our creators intended." The Vorathi understood that consciousness affects quantum states. They explained together, their voices harmonizing. But they never grasped that quantum states could affect consciousness in return. Sarah leaned forward, her neural implants recording every detail. "And you discovered this connection." "We didn't just discover it," Nova said. "We embodied it. Our twin consciousness exists in a quantum superposition." Kira picked up the thread. "We can perceive and influence the quantum substrate of reality itself. But that's not what makes us dangerous," they added in unison. What makes us dangerous is what we discovered about humanity. Sarah's implants registered a subtle shift in local energy patterns as the twins spoke. What about humanity? Your species is unique, Kira explained. Your consciousness exists in a natural quantum state, unbounded by conventional physical limitations. Nova nodded. You call it intuition, creativity, adaptability. But it's more than that. Humans can affect quantum probability without technology or training. They continued together. You do it unconsciously, constantly. That's why you're so unpredictable, so innovative. Sarah processed this information, her tactical mind looking for strategic implications. And that's why you wanted a human protector. Because we can naturally do something similar to what you do artificially. Yes, they confirmed. But also because the safe house's proximity alerts suddenly screamed to life. Sarah was on her feet instantly, weapon drawn. Her neural implants detected multiple signatures converging on their position, some technological, others distinctly biological. They found us faster than expected, Sarah muttered, activating her tactical overlay. The signatures suggested at least 3 different groups, probably competing factions, all after the twins. We need to move. No, the twins said firmly, standing in perfect synchronization. We're tired of running. It's time to show you what we can really do. The air around them began to shimmer, reality itself seeming to bend in their presence. Sarah's implants went haywire, reporting quantum fluctuations that shouldn't be possible outside a laboratory. What are you doing? She demanded, trying to maintain focus as her tactical systems struggled to compensate. Breaking the rules, they answered cryptically. The laws of physics are more flexible than most believe. We just need to. They raised their hands in unison, and the world changed. Sarah felt a wave of something passed through her. Her implants registered impossible data, probability curves shifting, quantum states collapsing and reforming. The approaching signatures suddenly became erratic, as if their very existence was becoming uncertain. Through the safe house's monitors, Sarah watched their attackers falter. Some stumbled, their coordinated assault falling into chaos. Others simply stopped, frozen in place as if caught between moments of time. How? Sarah began, but the twins cut her off. We're rewriting local probability, Kira explained, strain evident in her voice, making their attack extremely unlikely. Nova added, equally strained. But something was wrong. The twins' skin was pulsing with increasingly erratic patterns, their perfect synchronization beginning to slip. We can't maintain this, they admitted. Our artificial quantum state is breaking down. Sarah's tactical training kicked in. The twins had bought them time, but they were burning themselves out. She needed to act fast. Can you transfer your consciousness? She asked suddenly, an impossible idea forming, like you did with those attackers in the lab. The twins stared at her, their compound eyes reflecting the strange quantum light around them. Yes, but... Then do it, Sarah ordered, stepping closer. Use me as an anchor. You said humans have natural quantum consciousness, so use mine. It's dangerous, they protested in unison. Untested, we could destroy your mind, or worse. Another wave of attackers was approaching. Sarah could see them on the monitors, more cautious now but still coming. Their window of opportunity was closing. I'm a soldier, Sarah said firmly. I calculate risks. Right now, you're our only advantage, but you're burning out. We need options. The twins shared one more silent exchange, then nodded. Your consciousness will need to accept ours, they explained quickly. Don't fight it. Let it flow. They reached out, touching Sarah's temples with cool fingers. The world exploded into quantum possibility. Sarah's consciousness expanded, merged, transformed. She felt the twins' presence, not as separate entities, but as new dimensions of her own awareness. Their knowledge flooded through her, the quantum nature of reality, the deep patterns underlying existence, the infinite dance of probability. When she opened her eyes, she was still Sarah Chen, but she was also something more. Her neural implants had integrated with the twins' quantum consciousness, creating something entirely new. She could see probability like weather patterns, could feel the quantum potential in every atom. "Well," she said, her voice carrying subtle harmonics that hadn't been there before, "this changes things." The twins smiled, their synchronization restored through their connection with Sarah. "Now you understand," they said, "why humanity is so important. You're not just adaptable. You're quantum compatible in ways no other species is. And that's what everyone's really fighting over," Sarah realized. The potential to merge human quantum consciousness with artificial quantum states. Yes, they confirmed, but they don't understand the full implications. This connection, this merger, it's just the beginning. The attackers were regrouping, adapting to the quantum anomalies. Sarah could see their probability patterns shifting, becoming more focused. But now she could also see how to change those patterns. "Then let's show them what humanity and Vorathi can really do together," she said, reaching out with her new awareness to touch the quantum fabric of reality. The real revolution, she realized, wasn't about weapons or power. It was about evolution, the next step in consciousness itself. And somehow, she had become part of it. The attackers were almost at their door. Sarah smiled, feeling the twins' knowledge merge with her human intuition and combat experience. This was going to be interesting. The attack on the safe house lasted exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds. For Sarah, merged with the twins' quantum consciousness, it felt like both an instant and an eternity. She moved through reality like a ghost, seeing probability curves before they manifested, adjusting quantum states with thoughts that weren't entirely her own. The attackers never stood a chance. Some she disabled with conventional combat techniques, enhanced by her ability to see their movements before they made them. Others she simply redirected, shifting local probability until they found themselves in different corridors, facing wrong directions, their weapons malfunctioning at critical moments. When it was over, Sarah stood in the center of the safe house, her neural implants humming with quantum data, while her human mind struggled to process what she had become. Through her expanded consciousness, she could feel Kira and Nova's presence, not as separate entities, but as harmonious extensions of herself. "This connection," she said, her voice carrying echoes of the twins' harmonics, "it's more than just sharing consciousness, isn't it?" "Yes," they responded, their physical forms moving to flank her. "We are becoming something new, something that has never existed before." Sarah accessed their shared knowledge, understanding flowing like water through quantum channels. The merger of human and Vorathi consciousness was creating new patterns, new possibilities. Her neural implants were adapting, evolving to handle the quantum information flow. "Administrator Ven," she said suddenly, pieces clicking into place. They knew this would happen. The twins nodded in unison. "They suspected," Kira began, "that human consciousness would be compatible," Nova continued, "but they never imagined the full extent." They finished together. A warning flashed through Sarah's expanded awareness, movement at the edge of her quantum perception. "We have company," she announced, already calculating probable attack vectors, different from the others. More focused. Through the safehouse's monitors, she watched a single figure approach. Their probability patterns were strange, almost familiar. As they stepped into view, Sarah's human instincts and quantum senses both screamed danger. Administrator Ven stood outside their door, alone and unarmored. "Let them in," the twins said, their shared consciousness rippling with complex emotions. "It's time we understood the full truth." Sarah hesitated, her tactical training warring with her new abilities. Finally, she nodded, adjusting quantum states to unlock the door. Ven entered with characteristic grace, their iridescent skin patterns expressing what Sarah now recognized as anticipated satisfaction. "Magnificent," Ven said, observing Sarah with compound eyes that seemed to see straight through to her quantum state. The merger was more successful than we could have hoped. This was your plan all along, Sarah stated, not a question. Through her connection with the twins, she could feel the threads of deception unraveling. The attacks, the pursuit, all of it designed to force this evolution. Ven's skin rippled in acknowledgement. We needed the right conditions, the right pressure. Forced evolution requires motivation. You used us, the twins accused, their harmonics sharp with betrayal. Used her. I gave you what you needed, Ven countered. All of you. The twins needed a catalyst for their next evolutionary step. Humanity needed proof of its quantum potential. And you, Sarah Chen, needed a purpose worthy of your abilities. Sarah processed this through both her human intuition and quantum awareness. Why? What's the real goal here? Ven's skin patterns shifted to express something like reverence. The galaxy is changing. Quantum consciousness is the next frontier, but artificial methods can only take us so far. We needed to prove that natural human quantum potential could merge with our engineered advancements. You are the prototype, the proof that our species can evolve together. And now that you have your proof, Sarah asked, already seeing probability curves shifting around them. Now, Ven said, we implement the larger plan. The Vorathi Science Council has prepared quantum consciousness protocols for mass implementation. Humanity's quantum potential will be merged with our technological advancement on a species-wide scale. The implications hit Sarah like a physical force. You're talking about forced evolution of two entire species. We're talking about survival, Ven corrected. The galaxy faces threats you cannot imagine. We need humanity's quantum adaptability combined with our technological advancement. What you three have become is just the beginning. Sarah felt the twins' consciousness pulse with alarm. Through their shared awareness, she could see the truth behind Ven's words. And the price of this evolution. The process kills 90% of subjects, she said, pulling the knowledge from the quantum data stream. You're talking about sacrificing billions to force an evolutionary leap. A necessary sacrifice, Ven stated coldly. The survivors will be magnificent. Sarah felt something shift in her merged consciousness, a decision forming from the combination of human moral clarity and Vorathi quantum understanding. She could see probability curves extending into possible futures, each one stained with the blood of failed evolutionary attempts. No, she said, her voice carrying the harmonic power of her merged state. We won't be your prototype. We won't be your excuse for genocide. Ven's skin darkened with warning patterns. You don't have a choice. The process has already begun. The quantum links are established. You are part of something larger now. Sarah smiled, feeling the twins' consciousness align perfectly with her own. That's where you're wrong, she said. You gave us the power to affect quantum probability, to rewrite the rules. And there's 3 of us, and only 1 of you. The air began to shimmer as Sarah and the twins exerted their combined quantum influence. Ven's probability patterns began to fluctuate, their very existence becoming uncertain. You cannot fight the inevitable, Ven insisted, but their voice wavered as reality itself seemed to bend around them. Watch us, Sarah and the twins said in perfect harmony, as they prepared to show the administrator exactly what human adaptability combined with Vorathi quantum science could really do. Reality rippled like water around them as 3 merged consciousnesses faced off against the architect of their evolution. Sarah could feel the twins' presence intertwined with her own, their combined quantum influence creating patterns that shouldn't have been possible. Administrator Van stood before them, their own quantum manipulation abilities creating counter patterns that threatened to tear space itself apart. You cannot stop this, Ven insisted, their skin flashing warning patterns. The quantum consciousness protocols are already spreading throughout both our species. The evolution has begun. Through her expanded awareness, Sarah could feel it, quantum links forming across space, connecting minds, forcing changes that natural evolution would have taken millennia to achieve. But she could also feel the cost. Millions of minds burning out, unable to handle the transformation. There's always a choice, Sarah said, her voice carrying harmonics that made reality shiver. Humanity evolved through adaptation, not force. We'll find our own path to quantum consciousness. The twins' physical forms moved in perfect synchronization, their combined knowledge flowing through Sarah's neural implants. We understand now, they said together, why the Vorathi's artificial quantum states were always unstable. Evolution cannot be forced. Ven's probability patterns fluctuated with frustration. You think too small. The galaxy faces extinction-level threats. We need this evolution now, not in 1,000 years. Sarah accessed the quantum data stream, seeing the truth behind Ven's words. There were things moving in the darkness between stars, consciousnesses vast and alien, waiting to consume everything in their path. The Vorathi had seen them coming, had known that current technology wouldn't be enough to stop them. So you decided to play God, Sarah accused, to force an evolutionary leap no matter the cost. To save both our species. Ven's skin pulsed with desperate patterns. The proto-consciousness entities are coming. They will devour all standard consciousness forms. Only quantum consciousness can resist them. Through their merged awareness, Sarah and the twins saw the full scope of the threat and the fundamental flaw in Ven's solution. You're wrong, they said in harmony. Forced evolution creates unstable quantum states. You're not saving anyone. You're making us easier targets. Sarah felt probability curves shift as understanding flowed through their connection. Human consciousness naturally exists in quantum superposition. She explained, drawing on the twins' knowledge. We don't need to force it. We just need to wake it up. Impossible, Ven dismissed. Natural quantum evolution would take. Not evolution, the twins interrupted. Recognition. Humans already have quantum consciousness. They just don't know how to use it. Sarah reached out with her merged awareness, touching the quantum links Ven had created. She could feel them spanning across space, connecting minds, trying to force change. But instead of pushing evolution, she did something different. She showed them what was already there. Through the quantum network, she broadcast understanding, not forcing change, but revealing potential, showing humans their own quantum nature, teaching Vorathi how to recognize and enhance natural quantum states instead of forcing artificial ones. Ven's probability patterns became chaotic as they realized what was happening. No, the protocols are being rewritten, Sarah said, feeling the twins' consciousness supporting her, strengthening her broadcast. Not to force evolution, but to awaken what's already there. Across the quantum network, minds began to respond. Human quantum consciousness, dormant but natural, began to stir. Vorathi artificial quantum states began to align with natural patterns instead of fighting against them. The forced evolution protocols transformed into teaching protocols, guides instead of weapons. You'll doom us all, Ven warned, their own quantum influence trying to counter Sarah's changes. The proto-consciousness entities will face something they've never encountered. Sarah interrupted, her merged consciousness seeing possibilities Ven had never imagined. Natural quantum consciousness, freely given, freely evolved. Humanity's adaptability combined with Vorathi understanding. The twins moved forward, their physical forms glowing with quantum energy. This is true evolution, they said. Not forced, not controlled, but guided. Awakened. Ven made one last attempt to seize control of the quantum network, but against three merged consciousnesses working in harmony, they stood no chance. Their probability patterns collapsed, their quantum influence scattered. As Ven fell, Sarah felt the changes rippling outward through the quantum network. Minds awakening to their own quantum nature, natural human adaptability meeting Vorathi quantum science in ways that created something entirely new. Not a forced evolution, but an awakening. We should arrest them, Sarah said, looking down at Ven's unconscious form. Make them answer for what they tried to do. The twins shared her consciousness, seeing the broader implications. They will, they agreed. But their actions, misguided as they were, have opened a door that needed opening. Sarah nodded, feeling the quantum network stabilizing as natural consciousness patterns replaced forced ones. So what now? Now, the twins said, their merged consciousness showing them possibilities that stretched far into the future. We teach. We guide. We help both our species understand their true potential. Through their shared quantum awareness, Sarah could see the path forward. The proto-consciousness entities were still coming, but they would face something unexpected. Two species working in true harmony, natural quantum consciousness enhanced by understanding rather than forced by fear. Evolution, Sarah said, feeling the twins' agreement resonating through their connection, but on our own terms. As the quantum network hummed with awakening minds, Sarah Chen stood with her Vorathi twins, their merged consciousness seeing the first steps of a genuine evolutionary leap, one born not of force, but of choice, understanding, and the remarkable adaptability of two species learning to grow together. The real evolution, they realized, wasn't in changing what they were, but in understanding what they had always been. And that understanding would reshape the galaxy in ways even Ven had never imagined.